time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
Hey, what's going on, Ambitious Vet? Chris Hoffman here, the host of the Ambitious Vet Show. We've been doing this for over 4 years now, and every week, as I'm about to hit record or dive into the trenches with some of the top subject matter experts that just blow my mind with the golden grenades they bring in here, I can't help but be thankful for you that tune in here every single week. So for you that's listening to this right now, just thanks for showing up. You know, one thing that I learned when I first got out of the Marine Corps back in 2012 is I had to learn how to show up, even when I didn't want to. Even if I thought like a topic in a class or a meeting or formation wasn't relevant for me, I continued to show up, and you never know what shows up when you show up. So this thanks for showing up this week means a lot to me and our team at the Ambitious Vet Network as we look to get better inside the trenches with you every single week. This week, we're going to be diving into a 15-minute or less masterclass. I'm looking to kind of change up the formatting with the solo episodes and kind of mix and match with interviews. Mix and match with like some interviews, and then also do some solo episodes like this to make sure that we're honing in on some topics that you guys are telling me that you want to dive deeper into so you can explode in your life post-military. So today's topic was inspired from the ForceCon conference, the first annual ForceCon conference that was put on by the University of Texas at San Antonio. And this past week, this week actually, Monday and Tuesday, down in San Antonio, and it was a really awesome conference. Was tying in industry like startups, small businesses like ours, with top academia like the University of Texas at San Antonio, and also the Space Force and Air Force, and just figuring out how we can be divergent together and solve some big national security problems, learning and development type issues with airmen, and just all those kind of issues. And it was really enlightening for me to be there. And a big shout out to Capital Factory for inviting us and allowing us to have a table out there, because it was just amazing for the people that we were able to get to meet, who came up to the table, and for us that went, had lunch, had meetings, and just, we're going to other vendors' tables and just learning about what's happening in the marketplace, despite all this shit that we consume on a weekly basis, as far as new massacre shootings and just the COVID. When's the next variant coming out? All this fear-based stuff that is important, right? But not allowing it to push you into a corner to where you're not being courageous and executing fearlessly in life. It was just cool to kind of be around other people that weren't allowing the narrative to stop their dreams, man. And for those of you guys that listen to this show who subscribe to it there, thanks for coming up. Great meeting you, and I look forward to continuing to build a relationship with you. But one of the topics that came up in the last session of the conference was soft skills within the active duty military realm. And I think this is completely relevant to even veterans, maybe like you that's listening to this, and for myself, right? That's constantly looking at, how do I develop myself? How do I develop the skills to develop others in life, versus just the hard skills that are like, okay, how do I make money? How do I get shit? How do I create a tangible outcome with that skill? No, how do I create results through other people, right? And I think this topic that I learned from the last section of the conference is going to be really relevant to maybe your life. And the topic's going to be fostering a culture of inclusion, right? We live in a world where diversity, inclusion, equality, and unity is important. Obviously, the political party in office You definitely has a say in that. But fostering a culture of having everyone feel included and belonging in any situation is still going to be important, no matter what you're doing, no matter what political party's in office. And you've got to learn how to build team and teamwork that creates inclusion. And as we continue to build our advisory team here at AVN, and as I surround myself with people that are a hell of a lot smarter than me, one of the biggest compliments that we've had with people that are smarter than me coming into AVN, they've been able to articulate in a way that, wow, like you guys really are inclusive. You guys don't hold back, and you guys are just, your hearts and the culture of the company is wide open, right? Meaning that we're fully transparent, we're honest, open, all that kind of stuff. I guess other organizations may still be developing that. And I want to kind of equip you with a few golden grenades, ambitious vet, to how do you be the leader inside your organization? Or, if you're still in the military, like your team that you develop are trying to build, right? How do you foster a culture of everyone belonging and feeling included, right? So one thing that we've started this year in 2022 at AVN is we do weekly team stand-ups, monthly shareholder meetings, and quarterly shareholder meetings. The quarterly shareholder meetings are 90 minutes long. The monthly shareholder meetings are around 30, 45 minutes, and the weekly team stand-ups would be anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, right? And how I think about it is quarterly is like the big overall next quarter strategy. Monthly shareholder meetings are like what kind of decisions, problems came up over the month, and how can we pivot and use diversified thinking with shareholders. And then the weekly team stand-up meetings are more tactical, like, hey, what do we got to get done this week? What's kind of in the way? And how do we come together to kind of create a force multiplier effect to get it done, right? So standing inside that high-level I guess structure as far as creating an environment or opportunity to communicate with your team, whatever that cadence or frequency is for you, figure out what works for you. That's what we're doing. But inside of each of these meetings, we are fostering an environment of vulnerability, openness, and honesty. Now, how are we doing this? Is from the very beginning, that we hit record or we dive into a Zoom room, because most of us are working from home and remote right now, is I completely give up as a leader looking good or the fear of looking bad. Like, in fact, I try to look bad, because if I'm the smartest person in that meeting, or I'm trying to be, it kills off the potential of everyone inside the room, right? So, what that looks like for me is like, I'll admit something, not from a strategy of I want people to get open and vulnerable, so I got to admit something that embarrasses me or whatever. No, like I'll admit a problem that I'm personally dealing with, that I need help, thinking through solutions, and the components of executing that solution that may be intimidating me or overwhelming me. Think about it like this. When a pitcher on the mound in baseball, right, hesitates before he delivers the pitch home, that's called a balk. And the runner that may be on first or second base or third base will get to advance to the next base because he hesitated, right? Well, think about it like that, right? Like there are things that you need to be getting done with what your role is in life, and you're balking at it. You're hesitating, and you're allowing other competitors or something else to, really advance. And that was my 90-minute timer. Good old Parkinson's law of getting shit done over here. So don't mind that. But, you're allowing other people to kind of advance around you because you're hesitating. Whenever you do have the resources right in front of you, all you need to do is leverage them, right? So how do you leverage them? Well, in that meeting, after I dive into a big problem solution, or I allow the team to admit a big problem or solution, problem that they're dealing with, and then we can kind of utilize diversified thinking around solutions as we dive deep into that problem set or decisions that need to be made, and allow any unsaid stuff to be brought up. This may include ideas that have never been said, right? Things from other people's diverse backgrounds, experiences, abilities, knowledge that, you may have not gone through in your professional or personal life that they can bring and provide a complete new perspective that can get buy-in from stakeholders, shareholders, you name it, to execute on the problem, right? So I like to think about it like this too, is, it's the big rock, right? In the meetings, it's the big rock that everyone is struggling to push up the mountain. And your goal at the end of a meeting should be, or stand-up meeting formation, whatever, is how do I leverage the resources that are right in front of me to break that big rock into pieces? And I think as you create and foster, just an environment of people just being able to, speak their voice, speak their solutions, ideas, stuff like that, you'll be able to naturally, as a leader, develop the ability and the skill set to hear their commitment, to hear their abilities, their skill sets, their unique responsibilities on how they can help break that rock into smaller pieces and allow that rock to be pushed up the mountain easier with one rock at a time. We're a little small pebble, I guess we'll call it. Now, when you hear the teammates' commitment, right, and what they want to bring to the table, that's the time to hold them accountable. You got to collect a promise around a deliverable and then get a deadline. And one thing that I've learned through investing over $100,000 in my own leadership development outside of the Marine Corps is you manage the promise, not the person, right? It's totally different context. When you're just saying, hey, Johnny, you said that you were going to get that done by this time. What was the breakdown? And when's the new by when date? And that person may, hey, totally got it. This is the breakdown. This is my due by when date. Versus going right at them and being like, hey, man, what's wrong? Why didn't you do this? Right? Manage the promise, not the person. I hope that helps. With that, once you get that deadline and you got that support, then you just allow them to go execute and use and communicate and let them know that you are a resource for them. Hey, if you're having trouble hitting that deadline, let me know how I can help. But also create an environment to where other people can, in fact, contribute to that solution that they're bringing to the table too. Who else wants to be on the small power team to make sure that gets done? And be a resource if they have questions or they're getting stopped or they need better ideas to keep them unstuck. Who else wants to be involved, right? Fostering that inclusive environment, right? So cool. So now, really the result of that is that things are going to move quicker and getting shit done in your team. I like to reference it to the military, right? You do still need to be a commander, right? You do still need to be the person responsible for the outcome, the result, but there's just a different way to getting there where you don't have to be completely in control and just telling people what to do, right? They may come up with a complete innovative new idea that helps things just be better, faster, or stronger, right? Like the government always talks about. Or if you go to a government conference or you're in government contracting at all, they're always looking for something better, faster, stronger, all that, cheaper, right? Maybe someone brings up that idea and it just helps transform the company. Make sure you're creating an environment for that. And make sure that your job at the very end, everyone's clear on what their roles, the next action steps are, and what the true north is for the outcome. And any pie in the sky ideas that you can tell don't have any buy-in, just put that on the offset. Don't invalidate those, but just be like, all right, that's going to be a priority at later down the roadmap or later down the timeline. But the things that you can tell people are just bought into from the ideas of the team and they know that that's going to be the next priority set, make sure that there's a true north there. Make sure everyone's clear on the roles, deadlines, and deliverables. And I promise you, you're going to help things move quicker. Rather you are a leader in the military, leader in the corporate world, or a business leader post-military, you'll get shit done quicker. But remember this, be decisive, be clear, and be intentional, right? Now, Ambitious Vet, next week we're going to have Scott Haas on the show. He's head of U.S. recruiting for BGIS, one of the top military-friendly organizations in the United States. We did a pre-interview a couple weeks ago, and I'm really excited to bring this show to you guys next week. He's going to be unpackaging whenever you are inside of your career that you may not be fulfilled in right now. How can you think from the next 5 steps? And also, how is this conversation that you're having with the person in front of you going to impact 5 more people? And how those 2 questions that he asked himself help frame him into a fulfilling career that has residual rewards in his life. Until next week, Ambitious Vet, hold the vision and trust the process. Take care. Bye.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.